The following opinions are 99% factual.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
There we go.
And we're live from the Milky Way galaxy. Nate Manier, Average Joe's, Merle Cox joining you on February 8th.
Correct.
2020, the year of our Lord. And how are we doing out there tonight, team? Thank you for joining us. Hopefully, go ahead and give us some comments down there. Let us know if we sound okay, if we look good. Obviously, we look good. You know, that doesn't need to be even bothered with. But yeah, give us click that like button and give us a share. And yes, here we go. Merle, how are you doing on this cold, chilly, dreary day?
So you always throw me off. Do you actually have a window off to your left that you look out, or is that just you're adding to the show?
Well, I mean, what do you think? Gosh,
I don't know. I don't know if you're in your basement. I don't know. I don't know where you're at. So I'm gonna have to assume to your left there's a window.
Yes, I do have a window right to my left.
Well, you know, because
I could look out that.
Right. I mean, in broadcasting, like a lot of people think we're in the same house, and when I tell them we're not, they're like, oh, "How do you do that?" So, I mean, strange things happen. But Nate, I am doing fantastic. I've got a pep in my step again this week. Had a great week. Spent some time last night at the Night to Shine, which we can talk about that when we get started a little bit. But that was a fantastic opportunity that I got to volunteer with or in. So yeah, I'm good. How about yourself, brother?
I'm doing good. I don't have as much pep in my step. It seems like you've been on a hot streak. You've been stealing all of the pep. And here in Southern Ohio, I've noticed there's been a drop in pep. Nah, couldn't think of the joke. I don't know. But yes, good to know that you're having a good week. I had a good week. Not a lot going on. Last night we had the winter carnival at my daughter's school up at Oakview Elementary. Did a cakewalk. And, you know, Merle, we were kind of sad because me and my daughter and my cousin, my aunt, and his two kids, we all did the cakewalk. And there was one girl who was doing it in our round who wasn't part of our family. So we thought for sure someone in our family would win a cake. And no, the little girl who was not part of our family, she won. So I was kind of sad. I talked her into getting the cupcakes because they looked delicious. And then I tripped her as we walked off the stage. So, she cried for a few minutes, but, I stole her cupcakes and it was all good. There
you go. And Corey says, sounds good, looks good.
Sounds good, looks good. Corey, I bet you're looking good as well, my man. Okay, so let's see. Nope, nothing off the top. All right, let's dive right into our polls. So, should we raise the voting age to 25? It was a 50-50 split. There was 50% who people said yes and 50% said no. That's what that means, a 50-50 split, for any of you wondering. So I thought about that because someone brought up the point that, our brain isn't even fully functioning or fully developed by 25, 26. And I think, Merle, if you went back and thought of your 21-year-old, 22-year-old self and yourself today, that you can agree that your views have changed, you mature a little bit. And I think if we're voting on the rules and the how society functions, I think that we should raise it to 25.
Yeah.
So anybody who's, I think 25 and above would be good because you're going to eliminate some of that. I wonder how many laws have been put into action because young people were able to get enough gumption, I guess, to get something passed. And then later on, they're like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? What was I thinking? That just didn't make sense to me. Let's see. What age should kids be able to have their own social media? Over the age of 16 or under the age of 16? And 92% said over the age of 16. I believe I was the only one who said that under the age of 16. And one of our commenters said it depends on the kid, which I think is obviously a good point. Some children are, if I was 14 or 15 years old and I had a social media account, I probably would have gotten in a lot of trouble. So that wouldn't for me. But some kids are able to do it. Plus, I think this day and age, kids are so much more, they're exposed to so much more. And I think it's when you can get them involved, that the internet and technology is here to stay. So I think getting them in younger and letting them know the rules and the actions for your consequences and posting things that stuff stays forever. So, but yeah, 92% said over the age of 16. Do you exercise at least 3 hours a week? 70% of our audience said no, which made me sad because your boy's not in the best shape. But I do go to the gym several days a week just to get some exercise. So, Merle, how did you vote on that? Do you get at least 3 hours of exercise a week?
I try. I did real good last year. I was doing a lot of spinning. Now, don't laugh at me because, a lot of people, when I say spinning.
Dude, spin class is the bomb.
Oh, it is the bomb. I love it. Matter of fact, I liked it so much, Nate, that I went out and bought my own bike. So I need to get on there more this year. I had to go TDY a couple times last year and toward the end of the year. And then I used to do it where I work, but they screwed up our bathrooms. They tore them out and they're remodeling, and it's taken like 6 months. So I can't take a shower there. So I quit doing it. But I used to religiously, but I need to get back into it. That's my plan anyway.
Hey, all right. Well, there you go. You got a little bit of pep in your step. Now you'll be able to get a little bit of a pep on the pedal, if you will.
Pep on the pedal, yes.
Okay, are you going to watch the State of the Union address? And 53% of our audience, our loyal fan club, said that yes, they were going to watch the State of the Union. I did not catch a lot of it. I watched maybe the opening remarks or when they walked in and had their little grandstanding moments. But I was also working, so that's probably part of the reason. But I saw he spoke for like an hour and a half. I mean, good gosh, what do you have to say? Right. I mean, I can't believe it's that long. And anybody who watched the whole thing, my hat's off to you because I would have thrown up all over the place. Did you watch the Super Bowl? 55% said yes, they did watch the Super Bowl. And I thought that was, I don't know, I didn't see the ratings. Can you pull up the ratings for this year's Super Bowl? It seems like every year they set a record for Super Bowl viewership. But it seems like, at least with our people, it's a very small sampling size. But, almost half of our listeners did not watch it, which I was kind of shocked. It seems like everybody does that. And another thing, Merle, people who say they watched the Super Bowl for the commercials don't watch it at all. Because the commercials, the last 10 years, the commercials they're not like anything spectacular. And when there is a good commercial, my question is, why isn't your company having those commercials all the time? Why do you wait for the Super Bowl to actually put some creativity into your commercials?
Right. Okay.
You need to hire some.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. What were the ratings for the Super Bowl this year?
The ratings this year, this says for Super Bowl 2020, the ratings, we had 102 million viewers, which was up from last year. And that comes from Syracuse.com. So.
Okay. So yes, then it was up from last year. 102 million people watched. And there's 330 million people in the United States, I believe. So what is that? 1 out of every 3, essentially. All right. Well, I guess the Super Bowl, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good game. I don't know why people got so and here's another thing, Merle. Nobody was mad about the Super Bowl halftime show. I think there was a couple people who were upset, and then everybody who jumped on social media and wanted to complain about it, they were complaining about nothing, because Twitter does this really good. It makes me so mad. They'll take a couple of verified blue check mark people, and there'll be like 5 people talking about a topic. So then they'll put it on the Twitter moments, and they turn things that aren't a big deal into a big deal, and they get people arguing and fighting over something that's not really a big deal. But that's as soon as you go on to the homepage, the trending, they put that stuff on there. Their algorithms are literally made to just to keep you engaged and to keep you fighting and commenting with people. So no, I don't think anybody was mad. I'm sure there was a couple Karens out there who were upset about it, but it is what it is. Speaking of the Super Bowl, did you see what our president tweeted out after the game?
Yes, it was funny because I believe you made a comment on the Facebook and you got called out a little bit of possibly not fact checking, but you came back and said, "Oh, touche, contraire."
Yes, that was indeed, because I have a screenshot. I was on Twitter as the game ended, and I seen Donald Trump. If you don't know what we're talking about, Donald Trump congratulated the Kansas City Chiefs and the great state of Kansas. But as we all know, Kansas City is in Missouri. And I think it was funny because it was up for about a minute and a half. It was immediately deleted. And then it was rephrased as congratulations to the great state of Missouri. And it made me laugh that our president doesn't. Now, I can understand people don't know where. If Ohio had a city called Kentucky City, and people were like, "Oh, well, Kentucky City's probably in Kentucky." No, you would be wrong. It's in Ohio, actually. So I blame Missouri and Kansas for you guys not being able to sort that out. That was kind of a jerk move. But I did learn that parts of the city of Kansas City are in Kansas. So I don't know how that works with laws and state laws and taxes and stuff. I'm curious to see how that would work. But yes, our classic president tweeted out something that he had to take down, and I still can't believe that he doesn't have somebody like proofread his tweets before he sends them out. The University of Dayton just won. We're on our sports update. They beat St. Louis today, and they are kicking butt. I think they are ranked 5 or 6 right now in the nation. So shout out the University of Dayton Flyers. They're keeping it rolling. I think they have lost 2 games this year. They're like 21-2, maybe 22-2. And they put it on St. Louis. My buddy Marcus was down there at the game with his lovely daughter Gianna. So hopefully they had a good time, and it's always nice when the home team wins. For sports, we've had we're in that dead season of sports right now, Merle. The NFL's over, the NBA's kind of in it's like the middle of the season, no more college football. College basketball is not that fun until March. So we are in the dead season of the sports. So right now our sports updates are going to be light because I have a feeling none of you guys like soccer, even though I love soccer. And if you would like me to give you some updates on the English Premier League or the Champions League, we can do that, but I don't think any of you like it. So I won't force you to hear that. So the impeachment thing was this week. That came down to an end, Mr. Merle, and the president was acquitted of his charges, which was obstruction of the Congress, and I forget what the other charge was. But yes, they voted to not remove him from office, and Mr. Mitt Romney, the senator from Utah, was the only Republican to vote against his party and vote to remove the president. That's the first time that any senator has gone against his own party during an impeachment vote. They usually stick to the party lines there. So what do you think Mitt Romney's goal was in doing that? Do you think he was just doing it because he knew he wasn't going to get removed anyway? So it was like, oh, I'm going to lay my moral high ground card here and lay something out. What do you think Mitt Romney's what was his reasoning behind that?
Well,
because he had a lot of good to say about Trump when he was trying to become a senator in Utah, and he wanted Trump's endorsement, and then he turns around which I'm not saying he shouldn't have. You're free to do that, but I think it's funny that, the same people who are praising Mitt Romney and calling him a patriot are the same people that said he was a racist and he was a horrible human being who is a sexist Mormon while he was running against Barack Obama. So it just goes to show you that the parties are driven so deep in Washington that if you go against your party, then you're a hero. But if you're with your party, you're a racist scumbag. So what do you think Mitt was? What was his zero sum there? What's the point of doing that? Because I don't think he'll lose re-election, but I don't know, maybe.
Right. Yeah. Well, number one, I think we had this conversation on the Facebook or during our post when we talked about it, is Mitt's a man child, and he's still a little bitter that he lost the primary. I mean, him and John Kasich both, I think that's, John continues to make his rounds. I mean, let's face it, these guys Donald Trump isn't a Republican. He's a populist, but he's in control of the party right now. But I think Mitt would just split 1 for 1. That way he was trying to appease the anti-Trumpers and he's trying to please the pro-Trumpers. So that's how you do it, right? You split. Okay. I'll yes for this article of impeachment, no for this one. So that's what I think his game was. He can say, he voted for one article and didn't for the other. So I think it was kind of one of those wishy-washy things. Now, the question I'm asking you, is it going to hurt him in his bid for re-election when it comes up?
I don't think it will, because he still has that R next to his name. So I think that people will vote for the Republican, especially out in Utah. But maybe it will. Who knows? And yes, I think he is just a little bit salty about losing to Donald Trump, and you can't blame him. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. I think he was just doing it to get some points, and but like you just said, 1 and 1. So like he is like the ultimate politician. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to not piss people off and try and keep some of my fans. So Mitt Romney, congratulations. You're the most average human being to ever walk the face of the earth.
Right. And hey, it sounds like Ron Richard out there is a hockey fan. He's like hockey, and I've got to agree with him. Hockey is a fantastic sport. So
hockey is, I enjoy the playoffs. I just can't get into it during the regular season. I don't know. It doesn't, but hockey playoff, I will agree with you, Ron. Nothing is better than playoff hockey going into the Stanley Cup and the Olympics. I enjoy the Olympic hockey. I get into that but anytime that it's your country versus, you wrap yourself in the flag and, you throw out the patriotism. So, but all right, I'll get you some hockey updates, Ron, just for you, buddy. Merle, did you see a Canadian businessman burned $1 million in cash to avoid giving his ex-wife alimony?
That is desperate right there. that is an act of desperation. He must hate her with a passion. Whoa.
Yes. That it does. Obviously he's got more, or he just said, I don't care. I'll lose it all just so that you don't get any. But yeah, I thought that was hilarious. What happened in that marriage to make him that angry?
Yes. He is a bitter man.
Let's see here. Yeah. What do you think about Nancy Pelosi tearing up the State of the Union script? Do you think that was made out to be more than it is? Or, she did her little pre-tear to get it torn before the speech even started. So what do you think? Do you think that just codified the division of the country between the Republican Democrat sides? Or do you think, she had a fair point?
Well, so if you back up a little bit, there was a controversy before that when he came out and handed the vice president and the Speaker of the House the speech, where she extended a handshake, right? You remember that? Did you see that? She extended it, and he just tossed the paper and turned around. So I think she was a little bitter about that. Now the question is, he didn't shake the vice president's hand. So, did he see Nancy extend her handshake? To me, both acts, if he saw it, and didn't extend his hand, childish, and her ripping up the speech, totally childish, I think. That proves nothing but, other than the fact that you're a mere child, and you're having a temper tantrum right there. You got to hand it to the guy. The Democrats got to feel like Clubber Lang, right? They've been put on the ropes and dealt body blows so long. They cannot win against this man. So, she's mad, she's upset, but I think both parties need to chill the heck out and, at least let's bring back civility, because all of this is doing nobody any good, in my opinion, Nate.
It's not. And you talk to your neighbors and I have friends who hate Donald Trump. They think he's a piece of garbage, but we talk and we don't, hate each other. There's civility there. And I don't know, the art of disagreement is such a lost art. That's a horrible sentence, but I can't believe that we have these adults who are acting like baby, tiny newborn children. And they wonder why we don't trust them to make laws. We wonder why we don't trust them to do anything right. And they're the worst. But at the end of the day, I still think it's one big club, and behind closed doors, they're, eating their lobster and laughing and getting things done. So wheeling and dealing those behind the closed door deals. The Iowa caucuses were this week, and I did see on Twitter somebody said the Iowa caucus sounds like a really bad horror movie, and that made me laugh. So yes, it looks like they're going to do everything in their power to steal the nomination from Mr. Bernie Sanders, which I think if Bernie gets the nomination, I don't think he can beat Trump. But it was eye-opening this week to see how many Democrats came out against Bernie. It was shocking. But you know why they do that, Merle? Because they're part of the corporate structure too. They don't want Bernie, because you can hate Bernie Sanders and think that he's a socialist, and I'm sure you can be right about that. But the guy has always stuck to his guns as far as his voting, and he's never gotten any laws passed, but he at least, it sounds like he champions for the workers. And whether or not you want to tax billionaires at 90%, I don't think that's the right move. But I think it's very telling that CNN and MSNBC and all these political commentators are coming out against Bernie just because they know that he's going to he's not going to go along with their game plan of the continuous wars and the propping up of the billionaire class. So we will see. But yeah, they were trying to go after him. And Mr. Pete Buttigieg, did you see his? So he was putting out some tweets the night of the caucus declaring himself the winner before any of the results were in. And he came under some fire this week because the app that they used, that they rolled out in Iowa this week, the company that developed the app, their biggest supporter was Pete Buttigieg, and he had invested millions of dollars in this app, this company that made this. And yesterday, Bernie kind of brought this out, and he listed Pete Buttigieg has 40 donors who are billionaires, and he is just another one of the the Democrat puppets put in by the elite, by the pharmaceutical company, by the media. And Bernie is exploiting this, and I don't think it's going to turn out well. I think Bernie, I don't know, man, it's kind of interesting to see if he gets the nominee, because there's so many Democrats who hate him. Look at Hillary Clinton just last week saying that nobody can stand the guy. And typically when you're trying to beat Trump, you don't see that divided nature within the own party. They're going to, unite behind whoever. So it'll be interesting if he gets the nomination to see how many Democrats will actually support him and show up for him. Now, Merle, I want to bring up another presidential candidate, my man from, I believe, Rhode Island. I have his stuff pulled up here. Mr. Vermin Supreme. He's running again in 2020, the Libertarian candidate. So I was looking up some of his, I'm here at his website, verminsupreme2020.com, and looking at his platform and his policies. I don't think that there's any reason not to vote for this guy. His mission is to spread unapologetic message of free thought, clean smiles, and ponies through satire and humor. So he wants to make sure that every American gets his own pony, which I am down with that. And he promises to be a tyrant you can trust. Now, if you're coming straight out and you're saying that you're going to be a tyrant you can trust, I trust that guy. He's not trying to lie about it. But yeah, you can go on and look at his platform, some of his different policies, and on taxes and self-ownership, privacy laws, government finance, energy resources. He's got it all laid out there. So he's running under the Libertarian candidate. So let's see. I think it would be great if we could get Vermin Supreme on the debates with Bernie and Donald Trump. I think that would just be spectacular on so many fronts. And let's just go ahead and get all on board for the weird status. I mean, Donald Trump's already our president. Now let's make this second go around even crazier. I think that would be hilarious.
Yeah. So did you see, I remember Vermin. I forgot about him until I ran across him. And then I started posting some of those on our Facebook page there on Average Joe's. And at first, you know, I'm a big Adam I can never say his last name.
Adam Kokesh.
Kokesh. That's right. I'm a big Adam Kokesh fan. Always have been. However, when I stumbled back on Vermin, you know, I was talking to some of my coworkers and they've never heard of him. So I read his bio, and one of my coworkers keyed on the fact that he was a performance artist. And he says, "Oh, this guy's just doing it. He's just doing it for you know, just to get a little bit of, you know, his 15 minutes of fame." But I went and I found a YouTube video of him out talking. It looked like in a park to people. Basically, it was like his opening speech, basically announcing his running for the president in 2020. And he started out with that kind of crazy talk, right? Talking about ponies. I don't think he had the rubber boot on his head at the time when he did it. But what was funny was, and I kind of got the feeling, and he said, "Okay, let me drop the shtick." And he dropped his shtick, and he laid out a pretty articulate platform on what he was doing and why he was doing it. And I thought, I'm with you. I mean, I like the guy, and heck, I even told one of my crazy coworkers. He's not crazy. One of my coworkers, who's, I won't say he's a trumpet, but he's, you know, he likes Trump. And I said, look, I mean, going from Trump to Vermin, and his middle name is Love, Vermin Love Supreme.
Yes, of course it is.
That's not a huge leap in crazy. So I mean, I'm with you. I am starting to dig the cat, Nate. So I hope, and you know, I think he won the Libertarians' first primaries, if I remember correctly, that happened a few weeks ago by a large margin.
Yeah. Well, the Libertarians have kind of, you know, we've done this thing over the last few years, the Libertarian movement, where they, you know, there's been some Adam Kokesh, Ron Paul. He was bringing Austin Peterson, our buddy. You know, there's a lot of people who we tried to put together this candidate that we could get on the stage that could exploit some of our views. But you know what? I think a lot of people are uniting around Mr. Vermin Supreme, because he does. He once you drop the shtick and you get the rubber boot off your head, the guy has a lot of really good points. And I think that at this point in time, Merle, it would not surprise me if he was the president one day. I don't think it'll happen this time around. But yeah, you know what? He's the things he says, it brings light to how silly the system is and how silly the government is. And I'm all for that. So I might even have to make a donation on behalf of Average Joe's and see if we can get one of his campaign people on to answer some questions for us. That would be great.
Right. And I don't know,
I'm all in on Vermin Supreme.
I am too. I'm with you. I think we may, I'm not sure we're ready to do it yet, Nate, but we might have to make an official announcement, because like I said, I still want to do some digging, but we may have to make an official announcement that Average Joe's has officially sponsored Vermin Love Supreme for president of the United States. Because I mean, I like my boy Adam, but I went onto his page, and I don't know. He said the first thing that he would do is, if he was elected, would come in and he would abolish the federal government. Well, number one is let me rephrase that. I think he said he would come in and I think basically shut down the executive branch of government. I think that's what he said. So I was like, well, I don't know if you can do that, because the Constitution sets up, all right, our 3 levels of government. So, I mean, right. he kind of lost me there. I'm like, well, Adam, are we making this up as we go along? Because there are things that, not that probably wouldn't be a bad idea, right? But it maybe our system needs overhauled. But yeah, I'm with you, buddy. It's going to be interesting we'll need to keep our eye on him, Nate, on Vermin for sure.
Yes, we absolutely will. I got my alerts turned on Twitter for his campaign. So any stuff that comes through, I'll be the first one to give you an update on it. So did you see, so the coronavirus is, I've seen that there's been a couple more cases here in America confirmed, but it seems like the media has kind of jumped off the train, and which I don't know if that's by design to not freak people out, or if it's something really bad that they don't want to tell the general public to create hysteria. On Twitter, I sent you a video earlier, but there's some weird videos coming out of China right now of, they have these cities of millions of people on lockdown. And I watched a video, some guy was streaming on Periscope earlier this week, and he was in the middle of Shanghai in the middle of the day. And this is a huge city that has 20 million plus people. And it was like a ghost town. And everybody was staying in their homes or in their apartments or condos. And it's just creepy. So I don't know if they're shutting it. They're not reporting as much due to not create hysteria, or if they're just, it was just, they got their initial thing out of the way and they're going to just, go from here. So, but I did see one of the big scares coming out of China with the coronavirus is right now, the rest of the world is worried about what, Merle? That the coronavirus will wreak havoc on our population and cause insurmountable problems that can't be reversed, or that there's going to be a shortage of iPhones because workers are sick and that they cannot make iPhones right now. So
yeah, it's the iPhones.
Yeah, that's the big thing right now here in America, is they're looking at a shortage of iPhone 11s. So let's hope that the Chinese can get their act together and get our iPhones built more efficiently and more quickly, and get them shipped over to us.
Well, yeah. And speaking of Corona, I'm going to flash this up here. Did you see that the doctor who basically blew the whistle over in China mysteriously dies from coronavirus? I'm going to go out on a limb, Nate, and say he probably didn't die from the coronavirus. He probably died from 7.62 round through the brain. I don't know.
Yeah, especially in China, they're not very, they're not embracing freedom of thought and liberty. Very, you speak out against the Chinese government and your days are numbered. What did he, what was he blowing the whistle on? What was he saying that it was released on purpose, or that it was weaponized, or what was he? Why were they labeling him a whistleblower on the situation? Do you have any of that?
I've got the article right here. It's launched an investigation into issues related to the death. He worked in Wuhan. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, he had he first sought to warn his college roommates, I guess, in the profession. Within days, local police paid him a visit and reprimanded him for the post. So he was posting. I guess he's the one who basically said, "Hey, we've got an outbreak here of the SARS."
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was, he was literally sounding the alarm, saying that we have an outbreak on this, and they did not like that. They said, "Hey, you're causing hysteria," and maybe that's why he blew the whistle, and now it's kind of gone away from the media. Maybe it's they've got it under control. I think that bacteria and viruses and sicknesses, I think that it can be weaponized, and I think it is weaponized. I think that they use that stuff whenever they want, and that's just my opinion. I think they have a lot of cures for a lot of the diseases out there, but it's a healthcare industry, Merle, and there's no money in healthy people. If everybody's doing well, then there's not going to be any money flowing down.
Yeah, well, and I don't know. This SARS virus, which I guess Corona is an offspring of, or some type of SARS, MARS respiratory virus, actually has been around forever. But based on what I see, I'm trying to pull the stats up right now. I mean, but it's true. I mean, more people have died from the common flu right now, right, than they have
Yeah.
from what they're calling the Hong Kong flu. I think is what they're calling it. Is that what they're calling the coronavirus?
The Hong Kong flu.
Yeah, the Hong Kong flu. So
Hong Kong flu. There you go. And yeah, I didn't realize that the coronavirus is listed on the back of our Lysol wipes.
right. So this
It
isn't
says
new.
that yeah, it isn't new, but I think it's one of those things where, they get these labs and they get in there and they study this stuff, and I think maybe they play God and they do things that maybe they shouldn't, and then it turns around and causing a problem. So, but yes, it's the common cold, the common flu kills more people than vastly more people. So I think it's just another hysteria thing. But the thing that scares me is the videos coming out of Shanghai and out of Wuhan where, you're not going to see this stuff on CBS or ABC or NBC. But everybody has phones now and anybody can get on and stream. And it's just, go look up some of the videos right now coming out of China. It's creepy. It's nighttime and you're hearing people scream from their condos or sing songs it's just eerie.
Yeah, well, and if I was Chinese, I would be worried too, because let's face it, despite what we're told about our healthcare system, we have probably some of the finest healthcare in the world. So, to me, this outbreak, I mean, if you're a healthy American, right, you don't have some immune disorder, or you're, a really young child who has a built up an immunity. From our perspective, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I mean, I think we just found out today that maybe we have experienced the first death in the U.S. from corona.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, when you're talking a country like China, let's face it, they don't have the best health care. So I could understand why this outbreak could be really serious to the country of China. I mean, I'm sure, based on numbers that I've seen in the past, that when it comes to their health, they're not as healthy as Americans. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, and yes, it absolutely is. And I think a part of that is because of how many people they have, and just the more humans you have crammed into a smaller location, your hygiene's going to go down the toilet, excuse the pun, and you're going to have, it's just going to be, you're going to have more sickness and more illnesses to be contracted. So ever watched the beginning scene of The Stand? I've never seen the movie The Stand. But I will have to check that out if it's a little creepy, just like the videos coming out of China, that I'm sure I can relate. Let's see here. So first of all, there was an Aurora police officer. He was found drunk and passed out in his patrol car. And I thought that was, I think it's funny. But the part that kind of got me upset was the prosecutor said that he's not going to file any charges and the guy has been reprimanded. And it just makes me so angry when I read stories like that, Merle, because if it was a average citizen drunk and passed out in his car, he's going to jail and he's going to have to pay thousands of dollars in fines. Now, I don't know if this officer is going to eventually lose his job. Maybe that might happen. But I just, it's the old looking out for your own. So just another example of why I love the you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours mentality of our government. Let's see. Did you see there was a U.S. soldier fighting ISIS wearing a Kobe Bryant jersey?
I didn't see that.
Yeah. Yes. There's some pictures floating around the internet, and they very well could be fake. But I thought it was funny, and some guy posted a comment. He said, "Can you imagine being an ISIS fighter and you see a rocket coming at you and you hear somebody yell Kobe in the background?" And I think that would be hilarious. But yeah, the soldiers are out there fighting wearing Kobe jerseys. Let's see. So, Merle, I want to tell you about a podcast I listened to this week. It was very informative. A guy by the name of Daryl Davis, and he's a jazz musician. He's a black gentleman, and he got released a book a couple years ago. And I listened to this guy on Joe Rogan. I encourage you to go listen to it if you want. Daryl Davis is a guy who he wrote a book. He would go to KKK meetings, and he would talk to KKK members, and he would get them to basically leave the Klan or leave these organizations. And I think he said that he's converted over 223 Klan members into giving away their robes. And it was very interesting listening to this guy. And I want to get his book, his audio book, and listen to it, because the stories he was telling about being a black man and going and doing these meetings with Klan members. And he met first of all, I don't know if you know this, but the Klan, the KKK, they have levels of government almost within their organization. And it's hilarious, the names. They have Nighthawks and Dragons and Grand Wizards. And if you're a Grand Wizard, then you're like a leader of a local government. If you are a dragon, then you're like a national leader. But it was kind of funny. But he was talking about the first time that he went and met the leader of the nation of the Klan. And he was in a hotel room, and he said the guy come around the corner and looked at him and seen that he was black, and his security guard, his Nighthawk, if you will, grabbed his pistol and pulled it out. And he thought it was, he was a little scared at first, but they sat down and talked for a couple hours, and then he ended up becoming friends with this guy. And this guy would come to his shows and everything. And he said it was very weird because, this is the leader of the Ku Klux Klan, but yet he's sitting and having a discussion with a black man. And he said, the reason that it's just ignorance, and it boils down to people think one thing, and they've always acted a certain way. And it was very interesting hearing some of the stories that he had to tell. And so I want to get his book. But yeah, Daryl Davis, a black man who would infiltrate the KKK and convert their members into, not being Klan members. So I thought that was kind of funny. Let's see what else we got here. Merle, what are your opinions on the Take 5 candy bar?
The Take 5, I don't know when the last
Have you ever
time
had
I've
a
actually
Take
had
5?
a Take 5. I have, but it was years ago.
Oh man, I bought a Take 5 a few months ago and had one for the first time, and I thought it was so good. It was amazing, and it's the most underrated candy bar. So I'm here to say that Take 5 has now surpassed Reese Cup as my favorite candy bar. So breaking news: Take 5 overtakes Reese Cup as Nate Manier's favorite candy bar. But I know there was quite a hubbub on Twitter because that's an important thing to worry about is Take 5 candy bars. Let's see. I just saw earlier, we were discussing this, that up until just a couple days ago, Wakanda was listed as a nation on the U.S. trade list. So you could get on there and try and make a trade with Wakanda. But the United States government has finally removed Wakanda from their U.S. trade list. So if you were looking to get any exports into Wakanda, you are now not going to be able to do that. Let's see what other news we got going on here. Oh yeah, I asked you this, Merle. Why wouldn't you have your brain frozen in hopes of coming back later on down the road? I think that would be very exciting.
Well, because number one, I believe once we pass from this world, we go on to a different place, and depending on what you believe, what I believe, you either go to heaven or hell. So I don't believe I'm ever going to have an opportunity to do what you think saving my brain or putting in what do they call that? That frozen state. I forget what they call it. Cryogenics.
Yeah, cryogenics. Yeah.
I just think it would be a waste of my money because it's not going to happen. My belief is, once I pass from here, I'm going to go be with my Lord and Savior. So I don't think I'm ever going to come back to do anything with that brain.
What if you did do it, and then when you came back, like you opened your eyes and you were like, "Oh my gosh!" and you were like, I don't know, like one of these blue-haired, delicious liberals, but you were you had the brain of Merle, but they put you in a body of one of these Antifa creeps, or like I don't know, I think it would be cool to see Merle's brain inside of like a 5'11" African American beautiful supermodel, and I know it'd be a lot better to look at right now because, you got some pep in your step, but, so Spotify has launched a new thing on their streaming service where you can create a playlist for your dog, and they will play songs for your dog while you're not home, and you can put all of his favorite songs on there. So I've always wondered I've seen these YouTube videos of people who put GoPros on their dogs while they're not home, and they do exactly what you think they would do. They just kind of walk around the house and smell things and lay around the whole time. But yeah, Spotify will now keep your puppy grooving all day long while you're at work. And Merle, we are out of luck. The Japanese billionaire who was recruiting people to go to the moon with him has called off his search. And I feel bad for the guy. If you're a billionaire and you can't find a mate in this life, then you're doing something horribly wrong. And I don't even care if it's fake. If you're a billionaire, man, just go get yourself a lady. It's not that hard. So something must be really wrong with this guy, especially if you have a ticket to the moon. I mean, not only are you a billionaire, but now you have an extra ticket to the moon. I would love to go out. I would love to go to the moon. Would you take a trip to the moon, Merle?
I would. I think it would be fantastic. I mean, I am very fascinated when they show those, videos and pictures, right, from space. I think landing on the moon and just looking back at our Earth would be just a phenomenal experience. And it's not too risky to go up into space. So, but I think it would be a blast.
Yeah, I watched a video of the 2 SpaceX rockets that returned to Earth this last week. And man, that's cool watching those live streams. That it's amazing how those rockets come down and land with pinpoint precision, and then they can be reused. And that's why I'm okay with Elon Musk being president. I think he would be a good president.
Yeah.
All right. So what else has been going on, man?
So did you see this? I put this. I like to do the hashtag Win for Humanities. I posted on the Facebook, the Average Joe's Facebook page, where I'm putting it up now. An Ohio Sheriff's Office thanks brothers who spent snow day shoveling sidewalks and streets, and they asked them why, and they just said they wanted the world to be a safer place. So I think we give those 2 young men 2 thumbs up. That is a huge win for humanity. That's the way we need to be treating each other with dignity and respect. So, when I read those types of stories, it gives me a little faith, Nate, in humanity. And I think, you know what? With young people like this, we might be okay.
I think we will be okay. I think that we have far more good than we do have bad. The problem is the bad gets the attention because that's what drives the clicks. So, yeah, man, shout out those young men. And I'm excited to see what this next generation does. I think they're going to, I think they are, like every generation, going to be a little bit better than the one before them. So hopefully they learn from the previous generation's mistakes, and they kind of turn things around, get us headed back in a more United States of America, a path back to happiness, if you will. Yes, young men getting out there shoveling the streets and the driveways. I like that.
Yep, getting it done. They probably were more successful.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
No, I was going to say they were probably more successful than the city street department that day.
They probably were. They probably covered more square footage than the actual city plowing. Oh gosh. Don't talk like that. That takes me back to my days of Rosemont, dragging the shovel down the sidewalk, trying to shovel people's driveways to make a few bucks so I could go get some basketball cards and some candy down at Allen's and Laners. Was it Laners up on Wayne, I think? Yeah. Nice. So, shout out those 2 young men. And they're going to definitely be examples going forward for their class and for their generation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you asked me earlier, You talked about, I wanted to bring up I had a great opportunity this past Friday night, last night, to participate in the Tim Tebow's Foundation. They have a thing they do now. I think this is the 6th year. It's called Night to Shine. And what it is the foundation works with local churches. And I forget how many there were this year. There were over 100 churches. And I'm trying not to get this. There we go. Make us sick here. They worked with over 100 churches this year in 2020. But what Night to Shine is it's basically, it gives special needs people from the ages of 21 and up basically a prom night experience. And at the end of the night, they crown all of them king and queen. And I tell you that, Nate, this is my 3rd year, I think, participating and volunteering with that, with the local church here doing that. And it is just fun to watch these. They're not only kids, but there's like people that are in their 50s, 60s, and we might've had a 70-year-old special needs person. And, it's just fun because they check them in one location, and they bring them around, at least at our church, at the church I was at, they bring them around in limousines and like huge party buses, and they come to the front. Yes. And they come in, and when they come in, there's people, and there's a red carpet, and there's people on both sides and they get cheered for. So it was phenomenal. And just the look on their face, it's all about them. And we had one little girl, her name's Taylor. And this is the 2nd year I remember her. She refers to herself as Taylor Swift. And when they opened up the bus doors, she struck a pose and smiled. And it was just, we had several people do that. I mean, they just enjoyed it. And this is a people group that pretty much we as a society have put on a back shelf and disposed of, and not really recognize them or their worth.
Yeah, man, that's a beautiful thing. And I was looking at some of the pictures from last night on your page there, and it is, man, it's, they get put on the back burner of society, but it's great when you can take that time to honor them, because they're just like us, and they want to feel special too, and they want to feel like the center of attention like we all do. So that's great what Tim Tebow's doing. And man, that guy, he should run for president. He does a lot of good, and you just never hear anybody say anything bad about the guy. You're not going to get him to say anything bad about people. And so, thank you, Tim Tebow, and for doing that, man, because that's something that those kids will remember for the rest of their life. And they're just going to, it's a good time for them to just to feel special and to feel beautiful. And like you said, your girl's striking a pose and doing her thing. So yeah, good job, Taylor.
Yeah.
Nice. And what church was that out last night?
I forget, the church is right there on North Fairfield, just as you go north on North Fairfield Road in Beaver Creek and past Dayton Xenia. It's probably about a mile or two up the road. They changed their name. It's like something of Hope, and it's across the street from the Veterans Park right there in North Fairfield. Right. So, I mean, big shout out to them. I mean, that is a huge undertaking. I mean, lots and lots of volunteers are required, because they also, what's neat is the high school kids and some older adults basically act as chaperones. So, I mean, they basically, they have a date for that evening. So it's,
right.
We had a lot of high school girls and young men, dressed up, and they were honored to take these young men and women to the prom. So it was very, very cool.
That's beautiful. See, man, that's that next generation coming up. They're going to do things differently, and they're going to be more conscious of their neighbors and the people around them. And so, yeah, good job, Merle. The human volunteer, that's what you are. I feel like you can always be counted on anything, whether it's to patch a pool leak or to keep people safe at the Night to Shine event. All right, brother. So you got anything else before we go to the after show?
I don't. I just, it was a great week, and let's continue to watch the Democratic presidential debates, because it's a real crap show, and it's fun, and it's lots of entertainment.
It is. It's I forgot there's even one last night. I was watching some of the highlights this morning, and somebody had spliced together Pete Buttigieg and Andrew Yang, and they were saying that Pete Buttigieg would say he was basically copying Andrew Yang's speeches word for word, And they were showing where Andrew Yang would say something in March of last year, and then 2 weeks later, Pete Buttigieg is talking about it and saying the exact same thing. So I don't know. I think old Pete is a prop up from the the Democratic class of elite, and I think that they really want him because he'll do what he's told. So I think that he's going to be their candidate. I mean, he's a mayor. How often does that happen? You don't get a mayor coming from South Bend out of nowhere to become the top Democratic nominee. So he's clearly a plant, and he's put there by the media and the bankers and his leaders. So it'll be interesting to see how I seen earlier. They're already saying that they're projecting him to win New Hampshire because he lost. He came in second in Iowa. Bernie won Iowa. And I think they're putting that stuff out there now to keep him boosted up. Because if they just say that Bernie's going to win New Hampshire again, it's just everybody's going to quit and they're going to lose that momentum. So we'll pay attention to the it seems like Elizabeth Warren's kind of lost her steam. Joe Biden finished fifth in Iowa. He's done.
Yeah, he's done. The ex-vice president, he needs to just bow out gracefully and go home and do whatever he does that's nasty behind closed doors.
Yeah, he needs to go smell the hair of little kids and have underprivileged black kids rub his hairy legs because that's what he ran on his entire platform. That's what we'll remember him for. Being Creepy Joe and exploiting the black folks of our society for a little bit of weird stuff.
Crazy.
All right, man. So, yes, thank you, everybody. Stick around. We're going to do a little after dark Average Joes, and so we'll hang out for a couple minutes. If you have any comments or any questions, let us know, and we will answer them. So thank you, everybody. It's been another beautiful week, another pep in the step week, as Merle would say. So join us next week. I think next week maybe we'll try and do a Friday night show because we've had some people say that they can participate Friday night, but not Saturday night. So maybe we'll aim for Friday night next week and switch it up a little bit. But we love you guys. Thank you for joining us. You're all the best. And
stick around for the after
keep
show.
Doing your thing.
Right. Average Joe's After Dark. All right. Well, we don't have the after.
All right.
I got it all screwed up.
That's okay. We are just after dark, and I'm looking out my window, and it is dark, so you can trust me, ladies and gentlemen.
Funny.
Let's see. So, yeah, Merle, what you got coming up this week? Any big plans?
I don't. I'm trying to think. What do I got coming up that's big plans? No, I think it's going to be an average week for me, so I don't have anything exciting that I can think of. What about you? Anything good?
No. Carson had her winter formal dance tonight at Fairmont, so got some pictures with her. That was nice. Let's see. Tomorrow the XFL started today. I might try and catch a XFL game tomorrow to get some of my football jonesing that I miss so much. But yeah, man, we're just kind of getting into that February lull and trying to get back to the warm weather. I feel like every week the weather around here is so different that it drives me nuts, man. It's like super cold, and then it's super warm, and then it's super cold, and then I'm super sad. It's like a routine of cold, hot, sad. Yeah, man. So I don't have anything really going on. We're just another week closer to Reds baseball starting. Mary, my daughter, wants to sign up for piano lessons, so I'm gonna have her rocking out, man. She's gonna here in a few years, she's gonna be selling out theaters, doing her little like Billy Joel thing. It'll be amazing.
Nice.
But yeah, she wants to do piano lessons, so looking into that. That's something I never did, was learn a musical instrument. Did you ever learn a musical instrument, Merle?
My mother tried to get me to do piano, and I look back and I wish, because I can't read music, but I can play like "Oh When the Saints" and a couple other little gimmicky songs. But I wish I would have taken that more seriously, because I'd have loved to have been able to play the piano. I think that'd have been fun.
Yeah, I started learning the keyboard I believe my 9th grade year, and did it for about 3 months, and then gave up on it because, what freshman boy wants to be playing keyboard? Next Friday is Valentine's Day. We'll have a special Average Joe's
Valentine's Day.
I love you.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll have a I love you Average Joe's Valentine's Day special. Yeah, man, I really don't have anything going on. I did pick up some new. Oh, here's something fun, Merle. I bought some new Bluetooth headphones and some Sony ones, and they were, I just couldn't justify spending $250 on some Apple AirPod Pros.
Right.
As nice as they are, but yeah, man, I got these little Sony wireless Bluetooth, and very nice. I love the battery life. I feel like such a old man. I get excited for the stupidest purchases, and how excited, save $5 with this discount code. Oh yeah. Hey, I went and paid my property tax yesterday. That's always fun.
Yeah. Ugh.
Going downtown, and I took Carson down there. She had to pay a speeding ticket, so that was exciting. She went speeding down Main Street in Oakwood, and she learned that you do not speed down through Oakwood because they're going to get you.
Yeah.
So yes, at $128 later, and her speeding ticket was taken care of. But yeah, man, I had to go pay my property tax, and it just makes me so sad when you have to hand over, $2,000 to the government, and it just makes you sad. And then just knowing that that's only 2/3 of it, and I have to make another payment in July. So I don't know why every time I go down there and I'm like, hey, can I go to the auditor, or like, how can I have somebody like explain this to me and what it means? And they're like, we don't know. Just go to the 3rd floor. So then I go to the 3rd floor, and some guy's like, actually, you need to go down to the 1st floor. You need to talk to this person. So I'm convinced that there's nobody that can help me in the government, and they just send me on a wild goose chase, looking for someone who does not exist. So
that's funny.
Yeah.
Hey, I gotta tell you, I sat down. Renee had some her girls from the youth group at the church over doing cookies today. So I took my mother. She wanted to go buy a rug, and so I took her around town, bought her a rug, and we're sitting downstairs and I'm waiting for all these little girls to leave at 5 o'clock. So I decide to, I turn on mom's TV right on the Roku and I bring up YouTube and I start showing her one of our shows. And it was fun to watch her watch our show because she actually belly laughed several times. So I guess we can relate with 76-year-old women.
Hey, there you go, man. We're bringing home that crowd. That's our audience right there.
Crowd. That's our audience. Yeah, we have to change our time, but
our target audience. Yeah, we need to start a little bit earlier. Maybe get it in around 4 to get that in there. But yeah, you say that, and I have a few of my coworkers and a few of my friends, and they said that they enjoy it and they watch it and they tell their friends. But yes, I've noticed that the older crowd loves us, dude. So maybe we need to start appealing to that.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to reach out to AARP and some of the geriatrics, products and see if we can't get some sponsors. Maybe we can make a little money because what I did this week is I went out and bought a new camera. I don't know if you can tell my video is a little different. I bought a high-speed camera. It's like a $500 camera, just messing with the field of view. And I want to get you one of these C930 cameras. Because are you using the camera that's built into your laptop?
Yeah, I'm just using the one built in my laptop. And I was, before I went down and paid all of my money to the government, I was looking online. I was going to get with you because I want to get a camera and a light to do something a little bit better here. So
don't buy a camera. I've got a nice camera. It's called the it's a Logitech C920, which is a fantastic camera. And the only reason I got this one is because it does crazy stuff with field of view, and it blurs the field of view in the background.
Okay.
But this camera, I've got 2 of them. I keep pointing to it because I've got one right here in front of me. I'll just give you that one. And it's a phenomenal camera. And I do have a light, but I've just got a small LED light. We'll get you an LED light so you can play with some of the it does brightness and I say lumicity, but that's not the correct term. The color of light that you can play with. So yeah.
Yeah, I have we got our kitchen remodeled this week. We got our new countertops and new sink and microwave and everything put in. So we got our utility room finished as well. So I'm going to eventually move the computer out there and hardwire the computer so that we can have a more stable connection. And that's exactly right, Mom. There's nothing to not love about us. Yeah, man, we are slowly coming along and trying to be 1% less worse. But yeah, we're getting a little bit more professional. And I went down to Logos at Work on Friday and looking to put in an order for some hoodies and some hats for us for Average Joe's.
Oh, wow. Yeah, nice. Let me know. Maybe we'll buy a couple and do a giveaway. Ooh, that'd be fun. People love giveaways.
Yeah, so we'll get a couple and we'll do a giveaway for somebody on here, and we'll see anybody who can Skype in and answer some like American history questions or something. We'll give them some free stuff.
Right.
People love free T-shirts, man.
People love free stuff, apparently. So
yeah, free hot dogs, free pizza, free hats.
Right. Yep. Cool, brother. All right,
man. Well, we'll plan on next Friday night, and maybe we can get these T-shirts and hats printed up this week, and we'll try and get a couple people. Any of you brave souls out there who want to Skype in and join the show, maybe we can do that. So cool. But yeah, man, tell the missus and the kids say hello and have yourself a fantastic week.
You too, brother. We'll talk. See you later. Y'all take care.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. We love you.
Yep.